All right, but let's get into the meat and potatoes. I don't think I've talked about my top 10 anime on this channel. And I thought, today is the day we're going to come and I'm going to tell you my top 10 anime. Now, I will say that I have a very unique opinion about anime. If you couldn't tell through my videos that I make, you're gonna see some things on here that might be questionable, and I'm gonna defend it. I will say there is gonna be some questionable animes on this list. There definitely will be, but it will be for good reason. It will be for good reason. Let's get right into it. No cap. If you're tweet your top 10, if your top 10 trash, I'm gonna unsub. You might be unsubbing. You might be unsubbing. That ass. All right. Starting first thing first, we're gonna talk about the goats, right? Now on my list, there is not gonna be a single one of these animes because they are the goats, right? They are the greatest of all time. I feel like it's unfair to put them in a top 10 list. They're clearly gonna be 1, 2, and 3. So if you're watching this and you're like, why isn't Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece on this list? Is because they're in a tier of their own. They're in a tier of their own that is different from the top 10 list. Okay, we clear. We clear. Okay. Now we're gonna. So before we get into the top 10, you thought we were about to start. No, we're gonna talk about some honorable mentions. These are some animes that I think that are top 10 worthy to me, but they aren't top 10 because maybe a little bit of personal bias. Maybe I need another season for them to get top 10. But I think these are very solid anime. They're just not top 10 yet, but they're close. All right, number 15. We got my favorite Fate of all time, Fate Grand Order Babylonia. If you haven't watched the Fate series, I don't know what to tell you. You need to go. Watch Fate. Absolutely. And then once you watch the Fate series, go watch the best Fate, which is Fate Grand Order Babylonia. When I tell you, this anime does it all. Characters, plot, fighting. It literally just does everything. LJ, were you not paying attention? You said bro said top 10 and started with number 15. I just said these were honorable mentions. LJ, pay attention. Pay attention. Anyway, this anime really does it all, but the characters are amazing. I just love the way that Fate puts their twist on epic characters. You gotta go check out Fate Grand Order Babylonia if you haven't seen it. Absolutely got to. All right, 14. We got Haiku. Haiku. I mean, I'm pretty sure Haiku is a very self-explanatory anime to be on this list. I mean, Haiku got me into wanting to play volleyball, and I literally went to play volleyball multiple occasions just for watching Haiku. I mean, elite story, elite cast of characters. I mean, it does damn near everything right. I think this is a pretty good anime to, this is not bad in no terms. In no terms. We got 13, World Trigger. Now, I know most of you probably never even heard about World Trigger. You probably don't even know what this anime is. I'm just gonna tell you this is a long anime. It's about 100 episodes on season 3. It's a very different type of shonen. It's not your typical shonen where the main character gets stronger over the period of the anime. Our main character is weak as shit. He's a weak main character, but the way he navigates his way through the series is very remarkable. And it's a good journey. It's one of those journey animes. You just gotta sit back and relax and watch the journey. I feel like this is one of the most underrated anime in my personal opinion. I never hear a lot of people talking about it. I never hear people even highlighting it. When the season came out a year ago, it went completely under the radar. So if you need a long show, you got some time, you should definitely check out World Trigger. All right, number 12, The Eminence Shadow. Now I'm not gonna lie, Eminence Shadow is a top 10 anime for me. I think once it wraps up, it's gonna be in my top 10. Once it finishes, if it keeps doing the stuff that it's doing, it's gonna be top 10. It's just I feel like Eminence in the Shadow is a comet got killed if they did everything right. If they didn't do all that bullshit and it's just the story does everything right, bro. Even though the characters are goofy and they're very abstract, it just executes it very good. The story is very good. Like, the cast is amazing. This is just one of those shows that if you're not watching, bro, you gotta tap in. You gotta tap in. All right, 11. We got Noragami. Noragami is a very popular anime. You know, it's very popular, and it is popular for a reason. It's pretty good. Iconic main character. Good story, good fighting. I think the thing about Noragami that makes it 11 for me is that, you know, there's swords, and I love me some swords. I love me some sword fights. There's sword fights. I love it. It's cool characters. I mean, it was one of like, I think one of the first 10 or 15 animes I watched. So I probably got some bias in there. Definitely got some bias in there, but I think it's solid being close to top 10. All right, but we got our top 10 coming in right now. Our actual top 10 starting now. All right. We got number 10, the best romance to ever touch anime. Now, you might go look on my anime list and you might go type in Orange and you might see that it got like a 7.7 rating or something like that. I don't know how in the goddamn universe Orange is so slept on how it is, bro. When I tell you Orange is is literally the best romance to ever touch the romance genre, bro. It's not even close. The cast is elite. The story is elite, bro. When I tell you every single episode you're gonna get put on an emotional roller coaster, I kid you not. You're gonna get put on an emotional roller coaster every episode, bro. And you think you're gonna know how this series ends, and you're gonna be lost when it gets there. I put some people onto this anime, and they literally told me that they cried. Like, this is one of those animes that I just don't understand for the life of me how it doesn't get more praise. But it is what it is. It's definitely my favorite romance anime of all time. So that's why it's number 10. Number 9. Alright, now, if you're going to clown me for one anime on this list, this is the one that you can do. You could clown me for this one. This one is 1,000,000% biased. This is 1,000,000% biased, bro. And I have the self-awareness to say that. The only reason this anime is on this list is because it has two of my favorite things in the whole wide universe. And number 1 is swords. I just told you sword fighting. There's no answer. I just love sword fighting. And number 2 is vampires. They got vampires and sword fighting. There's not much, you know, it was a wrap. Once I seen vampires and sword fighting, this was a top 10 anime for me. It didn't matter what happened in the anime, I liked it. I mean, like, it's not even that bad anyway. Like, it's still pretty good. Like, good stories. Like, they kind of rushed through the story at the end, but like, for the most part, it's a good story. Good action scenes. The characters aren't bad. I mean, I feel like it's solid, but it definitely doesn't deserve to be on a normal person's top 10. I'm a little weird, so that's why it's on here. All right, number 8, we got Blue Lock. Now, Blue Lock is just like Haiku. I feel like it's just as good. It's just as good as Haiku, but for me personally, it has some things that I like a little bit more. And Blue Lock, you know, the characters are a lot better. Oh, if you're talking about you haven't watched it, if you're talking about Sarah for the End, then yeah, I'm not surprised. A lot of people haven't watched it, but Blue Lock, elite characters. Like, the cast is way better than the cast on Haiku, so I feel like solely for that reason, it's a lot better for me. I mean, like, there's not a single character that I don't like. There's not a single character that I don't like in Blue Lock. Oh, you're saying you haven't watched Blue Lock? You definitely gotta watch Blue Lock. There's not a single character that I don't like in Blue Lock. And I mean, the plot of Blue Lock is amazing, bro. I just like the gist of Blue Lock. I feel like Blue Lock isn't top 3 sports anime. Hey, I mean, hey, that's your own personal opinion. For me, it is. For me, it's the top 3 sports anime, in my opinion. I mean, it doesn't do anything wrong. It does everything excellent for me. I mean, number 8, I feel like a good place for it. Number 7, we got JJK. JJK, I mean, it's self-explanatory. I mean, you could call it recency bias. You could call it whatever you want. But JJK is undoubtedly a top 10 anime. You know, it's just where you want to put it in the top 10. I mean, in terms of story, in terms of action, in terms of character, like everything is good. A lot of people have gripes about little things, but I feel like once you can get past those gripes, you can see that this shit is elite. It's elite in every single aspect, and we're not even close to being done. Right now, JJK could either go up or down depending on the next seasons that happen. I hear things about the manga, that aren't so good. So just depending on how it comes in the anime scene depends on where it's going to stay out on this list. I think, if we keep on getting seasons like we just got, JJK might end up a top 5 anime. But until then, it's definitely number 7 for me. Definitely number 7. Number six, the greatest isekai to ever broadcast. And it's not even a question. I don't care what anybody says. Mushoku Tensei is elite. And when Mushoku Tensei ends, it's going to be top 5 for me. It's going to be top 5. It's not even a question. I think I have ever in my life seen an anime do character building like Mushoku Tensei has done it. Rudius's character over these couple seasons, the way his character has developed is something brilliant, bruh. And more animes need to look into how they can develop a character like they have done Rudius. The cast of this anime is great. I feel like there's not any bad characters. Maybe the dad, he's a little on the wonky end, but once you look into his character, he's still a good character, The world building in Mushoku Tensei is phenomenal. That's not even a question. Phenomenal world building in Mushoku Tensei. The music, the animation, it's just nothing. They don't do anything wrong. They literally don't do anything wrong in here, and it is what it is. Definitely a top 5 anime soon. Definitely top 5, in my opinion, soon. Number 5. Now, if there's one anime that you have not seen that's on my list that I could recommend you to start watching, it is Maggie. It's Maggie. I feel like Maggie's like Fearin' if it had Fearin' animation, bruh. It came out a little later. It's about magic, which obviously is the title. You can tell by the title. I mean, I feel like in terms of story and world building, it's hard to talk to an anime like Maggie, bro. It is so good, bro. And a lot of gripes people have with Maggie is that they get confused with the story, which I don't know how that's possible because there's like 2 preludes. All you have to do is watch the preludes and everything makes sense. But some people don't know how to start watching anime, or they don't know how to research what's the first thing to watch, so they got confused. But I mean, the main 3 characters are good. One of the complaints that I hear about Maggie is that they don't like how much time they spend on the side characters. They say that they spend too much time on the side characters, which is such a dumb thing to me because they flesh out the side characters so good. Like, what all the side characters are going through. And if you're telling me that spending time on the main side characters of the series is a bad thing, like, bro, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, the way that they build characters is great. The action is pretty good for a 2013 anime. It's not the best, but it's still pretty good. I mean, if you need something to watch magic-wise, Maggie is the one that I would tell you to watch. We get in top 5 here. We got number 4, Berserk. Look, now when I say Berserk, I want you to know that I'm strictly talking about Berserk 1997. I don't care about any other adaptation of Berserk. Those are all dumpster. We're talking about Berserk 1997. Now, when I tell you it is a rarity to get me to buy some manga, like I do like manga, but like I never really go on my way to buy it. Now, you can't really see the shelf, but I have a shelf over here. At the bottom of that shelf is straight copies of Berserk Deluxe Edition. I've spent within the first day of me finishing Berserk, I spent like $300 on them Deluxe Edition manga chapters, bro. When I tell you Berserk is so elite, if you can get past the gore, if you can get past the themes, Berserk is one of the best told stories I've ever read and I ever watched. At least, especially in Berserk 1997, they do it amazingly. It's not a singular bad thing that they do in Berserk 1997. It's just amazing in all aspects. If you haven't watched Berserk, you gotta go watch Berserk. That's all I can tell you. Number three, man. Look, I can talk about this anime all day. I really can. A lot of people like to say Attack on Titan has the best written story ever. And I will tell you, you are wrong. Steins Gate stumps on Attack on Titan. It's not even close. Steins Gate's story is absolutely elite. No story in anime history puts you through the twists and turns and plot twists Steins Gate does. I tell you, you cannot click on an episode of Steins Gate and predict what's going to happen in that episode. You will be lost. You will be lost trying to figure out what's going on in Steins Gate. That's the story that Steins Gate puts you in. It's like a web. Everything's connected. And then it masterfully connects every single point to a conclusion, bro. Steins Gate is so elite, bro. If you have the time, you need a drama show, bro, watch Steins Gate. Both seasons immaculate. Number two, this is another one. I'll take the hit. You could be like, Hezzy, really? Black Clover at number 2? It's okay, bro. I will take the L. It's okay. Look, I said it earlier that I love magic. I love swords. People like to say Black Clover is a ripoff of Naruto. Naruto is probably one of my favorite shows of all time. So if you can rip off Naruto and then Black Clover and then have put swords and magic in an anime, that's a recipe for Hezzy. It's a recipe for me. And that's why Black Clover is number 2 for me. Yes, it struggles. Is Black Clover one of the best animes that ever come out? Absolutely not. It's not. But for me, for Hezzy, it does everything perfectly. I love the cast. I love the world. I love everything that Black Clover does, right? And it's that simple. So that's why Black Clover is number 2. Now, number 1. I'm going to talk about number 1 a little bit before I click on it. Because number 1 is an anime that I know that nobody has seen. I know that nobody has seen it. Well, I'm not going to say that nobody. There might be somebody out here that has seen this anime. But for the most part, you probably haven't seen this anime. And the only reason why I've seen it is I'll explain. This anime right here has a special place in my heart. And it's only because it's the first anime that I ever watched. I'm going to put you on. This anime is called Darker Than Black. Darker Than Black is the first anime that I ever watched, and it threw me into the anime sphere, and it will always have a special place in my heart. It will always be number 1 no matter what anime comes out. Darker Than Black is a brilliant story that it didn't end. So a lot of the questions that it gives you, it never gets answered, and that's really like a downside for the show. But and yeah, it's 1,000,000% bias, LJ. It's 1,000,000% bias. I mean, it's my favorite anime list. This ain't a non-biased top 10 list. This is a complete biased top 10 list. This is biasly Hezzy's number 1 pick, 1,000,000%. Darker Than Black though, but I still think like even with the bias, I will hype this show up to 1,000,000%, and I still think you should watch it. And if you think it's bad, I think you missed something. Like, I will hype this anime up, and I will not be surprised if you, like, think it's good. Because I know it's good. I feel like this was the perfect anime for me to watch as my first anime. Like, I felt like it was the perfect one. I mean, it does everything like, where it's great, but not, like, the best thing I ever watched. Like, I feel like if you start with something like JJK, now your bar is set to like a crazy high setting. You know, like now everything you watch gotta reach JJK expectations or you're not gonna like it as much. But I feel like Darker Than Black was like the perfect 8. It did everything so good, but it left room for me to find better anime. And that's why like I will always have appreciation for it. I'm not gonna talk about what the story is too much just in case you want to watch it, but It's a unique anime. It is a unique anime. It's like, you know how Cowboy Bebop is so unique, like about like the things that it does. I would say Darker Than Black is like that type of uniqueness. It has like simple things that it does, but it's a very unique the way that it does it. Great anime though. Great anime nonetheless. But this is my top 10 list. This is my top 10. Darker Than Black mentioned Holy Peak. Yeah, it's my favorite one, my first anime that I ever watched. My favorite one. No cap. Yeah, but that's my top 10. Do we have any questions? Do we have any statements that I should clarify before we keep going? Before I go on to the next thing, because I know some people might have some questions about why I have certain things, certainly good taste. You know, I mean, I feel like when you watch a lot of anime, like, you know, most of the mainstream stuff, you tend to like it, but it doesn't become like top 10 worthy. It doesn't become like something that is in your top 10. Like a lot of people that I know that watch a lot of anime, like most mainstream stuff is in their top 10, you know. But that's my top 10 though. That's my top 10. That's my top 10. That's my top 10, man. So you like the video? You'll like this one too. Go ahead and click on that. Yeah. You're still here? So you don't fuck with me? Alright, I'ma just.